Hey YouTube, they call me Noicky. I just got the recent Game of Thrones episode, Season 7, Episode 6, and had to talk about it. So watch out for spoilers going forward here, but we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. So many great things happened this episode that really caught my attention. I think that the whole expedition pushing north was just really interesting because you got so many character interactions that we've just never seen before, but it really kind of helped to show everyone how interlinked everybody is. I mean, just the combinations, I was trying to list them out. We have Gendry and Jon, Gendry and the Brotherhood, Jorah and Tormund, the Hound and Tormund, Jon and Beric. I mean, all these people have such interesting interrelationships you never would have thought of. Like Gendry and Jon, I think the irony is so great that Gendry's saying, our fathers fought together, when the dramatic irony in that is that Gendry's father actually killed Jon's father, as we know, and they don't know. And then you get the great conversations between Jorah and Tormund about, oh, your father killed our people, hunted us, and then the Hound and Tormund talking about Brienne. It's just amazing how intertwined everything is, and I really love episodes and shows where you get those, just character interactions you wouldn't expect. I mean, if you think about where all these people started, I mean, Jorah was on a completely different continent at the beginning of the show, so it really is cool to see that development, and I really love the way that, the way that interaction went down between everybody. It was just, totally interesting. The bear, the like polar bear, White Walker bear, was cool because I really felt like it was a foreshadowing of animal reanimation. It also served to kind of symbolize the Hound's fear of fire still. That's something he hasn't let go of yet. I really think it was mostly a narrative tool that was supposed to look cool for the audience. I mean, it was fun to watch them fight the bear. And I think that it really helped to sort of foreshadow what was going to happen. I mean, there were plenty of other things that did that, but I'm getting ahead of myself. The things I really want to talk about, though, have to do with that face-off with all the whites, and of course the dragons and everything. The thing that caught my attention was there's a scene where the Hound got up and kicked one of the whites, and they all kind of responded. And I thought that was interesting. I was looking around online and people were talking about sort of a hive mind connection thing, which, I think that's interesting too. I'm not really sure. I don't have a theory that beats that, so I could incline to agree with it. But the interesting thing I saw about it was when the dragon got hit. Was it Viserion? Or was it Rhaegal? Most people seem to think it was Viserion, but when he got hit, the other two dragons cried out too. And it really was sort of a reflection of that scene, for me at least, of the whites kind of having that connection. And I don't know exactly if the dragons have a hive mind thing going. I mean, that seems a little far-fetched to me. I mean, it could be, though. I wouldn't want to write anything out, but I just find that sort of mirror really interesting to the plot of the story, with the ice and the fire, how they're both interconnected. So that was something I really wanted to point out because I felt like not many people made that connection. Or maybe there's not really a connection there and it's too much of a stretch. I don't know. I was just kind of drawing conclusions. And then I brought it up a moment ago, but Viserion or Rhaegal, which dragon went down? It really sort of depends. From a narrative perspective, either one could make a lot of sense depending on where the story's headed. So let me give you a couple examples. Viserion, I mean, obviously the dragon is come back as a white dragon. So Viserion being named after Daenerys' brother, we remember the sort of relationship that she had with him, and we remember the character that he had. So it's not too crazy to see that that dragon was destined to become a adversary, they're gonna have to fight it now. So that's a great Viserion argument, right? The Rhaegal argument, in my opinion, focuses more on what actually, I mean, whether or not the dragon is dead, quote unquote. So when Castor's sons are brought back, I think that's his name, to create more White Walkers, I remember in that scene that the baby wasn't dead, its eyes just turned blue. So it made me wonder if, you know, the reason that they create whites is because they're already dead and White Walkers are created from living people. Because that bear at the beginning, the polar bear, I mean, like half its body was missing. You could like see its ribs. I mean, it was clearly undead. So it kind of puts that theory in a little difficult position. But the idea that maybe the dragon was Rhaegal, the only reason it could be Rhaegal is because I think Rhaegal has the strongest connection to Jon Snow. And so if it's brought back as a white dragon and Jon Snow takes it as his own, having an ice dragon, that would kind of make sense. I mean, that's the only argument I really see supporting the Rhaegal argument, is that maybe that dragon isn't dead, maybe it was just brought back as a white dragon, and it'll hold some kind of, I mean, I don't know how it would go down, but I don't know, I'm just trying to build a case for both arguments to try and see which one seems more likely. I'm personally more in the Viserion dragon sort of category, but I mean, there's substantial, I mean, you can make an argument for both sides really, so I just want to bring up all the facts, have a discussion. So I think it was Viserion, but it could have been Rhaegal, and it could be that the dragon wasn't dead and it will be brought back as an ice dragon or something, and then Jon Snow could potentially be the rider of that ice dragon, or Rhaegal was the one that made it out alive and Jon Snow will ride that one. I mean, both cases are perfectly possible, you know, with the whole Viserion adversary dragon thing or whatever. So it's open to interpretation. I'd be interested to see what your guys' thoughts are on that if you want to discuss it below. Another thing I see a lot of people talking about is why the Night King throws his spear at Viserion and not at Drogon when you know, everybody's getting on Drogon to fly away. And, you know, I've seen people say, you know, oh, it's easier to hit, you know, like he was planing, so he knew where he was going to be, or, you know, there was the idea that he wanted to sink him in the water so that he could take control of him or whatever. But what a lot of people haven't pointed out, that my theory at least, is that Viserion is breathing fire when he gets struck, and you'll see that the spear hits his neck and then he kind of like bursts into flames, because that's where the fire is coming up his throat, out his mouth, right? So the spear hits him in the neck and then the fire just kind of pops, and that really does the most damage, I think. So I think it's less the spear that killed him, and it was more piercing the neck with the fire, that those two things combined that did the most damage. So I don't think it's necessarily that they can kill the dragons with just the throw of a spear, you know, hitting them out of the air. I think that would injure them pretty bad, but I think it's striking while they're breathing fire that really does the most damage, because that makes the most sense to me. Because when I watched it too, I was like, why would he go for that one when it's so far away, you know? I thought he was just going to come up and try to stab Drogon or something. But as I was thinking about it, I was like, well, maybe that's why. After I watched it back, because I was like, why did he catch on fire? That seems so weird. But I don't know. I mean, it's likely possible that it could have just been plot device because they needed a dragon to escape on, and Drogon is Khaleesi's dragon, and then the whole Viserion, you know, being the adversary dragon. But I don't know. I think it's an interesting idea. Maybe that the dragon's greatest weakness is their dragon fire being used against them. So that's all I really wanted to discuss. What do you guys think of that whole idea? Which dragon do you think it was? Do you agree with the hive mind connection? I mean, maybe there's something there. Maybe it's just symbolic. I don't know. And also, do you think that the white White Walkers can kill dragons, or do you think that they just understand that they have to strike the dragon while they're breathing fire? Like, that's the dragon's weakness. Yeah, that's about it for me. So hopefully this discussion, piqued some, interest in you, and you liked it. I'd love to do more of these because it's super fun, and I love breaking things down like this. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.